Hello everyone, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Ultimate General Civil War. We're playing the Union Let's Play, and Union Campaign, if you will. We've just won the Battle of 2nd Manassas rather bloodlessly, and we are now into the Sharpsburg, or the Antietam Campaign, where you can see here the main battle will be the Battle of Antietam on September 17th, but there will be two preliminary battles of South Mountain and Crampton's Gap, which will precede the battle, both battles occurring on the same day. Both battles, I believe, in Pennsylvania. I know a little bit more about South Mountain than I do Crampton's Gap. Now, with that all being said, you can see here if we go back to the Union Army, which we're in the process of trying to build up, we've got the 1st Corps under George B. Gamer, that's myself. We've got the 2nd Corps under John Gibbon, and we've got the 3rd Corps under George McClellan. Now, the 3rd Corps is nothing but a glorified overstrength division, just because it has a little bit of extra artillery. The 2nd and the 1st Corps are both fully built out. In our last fight, we increased our army organization, which means we can add an additional brigade to all of these divisions, which means the 1st and the 2nd Corps are now in excess of 20,000 men. And all told, between our 1st and 2nd and 3rd Corps, we have some 52,000 soldiers that we can bring to bear in any given fight. However, my goal is to build this 3rd Corps out in its fullality. That's not a word, is it? Before we actually get to the Battle of Antietam, because if we go to the Battle of Antietam, we will see here, if we go in and start, that the Union Army can be much larger than 3 Corps by this battle. In fact, as we go in here, we can see here, it is a minimum of 3 Corps that the Union Army must have, because you need to be able to attack the left, the center, and the right. But then you also have reserves that you could theoretically bring to bear if you were to have them. So you could have as many as 5 Corps to bring to bear. But a minimum for the battle is the 3 Corps. Now, the good thing is, because we expanded the army organization, instead of just having our corps consisting of 12 brigades, when there's a maximum of 20 in any corps that you can bring to bear, we've expanded out to 15. So we're much closer to that full-strength army that we would like to have. The downside is, at this point, we're unlikely to have any reserves to bring in, so we're going to have a strong attack on the left, center, and right when we get to the Battle of Antietam, assuming we can build that 3rd Corps out, but we are unlikely to have any reserves to use to exploit in the eventuality of a breakthrough. That being said, that's probably a couple of episodes ahead of where we're at right now. In today's episode, we've already got the corps built out. In today's episode, we're going to go ahead and fight. I'm not sure if we want to fight the Battle of Crampton's Gap or the Battle of South Mountain. I haven't really made up my mind here. There doesn't seem to be a benefit really in either case. The enemy army is smaller. If we win, sorry guys, a little bit tired there, one or the other, but I haven't really made up my mind. I guess we'll go with Crampton's Gap first. I don't really see a reason of one over the other, but I guess we'll go with Crampton's Gap first. Before we do that here, just pulling out a bit, you can see here we've got quite a bit of prestige at 67. That's giving us a big morale boost of 7 to all of our forces. We could use some of this 47 reputation we have to bring to bear. We could actually raise an additional $120,000, get 5,000 additional soldiers, and largely build out the 3rd Corps just as is, without even fighting the Battle of Antietam before we even get there. I don't want to do that if I don't have to. So I'm going to avoid spending lavishly all of my built-up reputation. The government seems to love me at this point. My fame is growing, and the soldiers fighting under me have increased morale. The government is very supportive of your efforts and can award you with additional resources if you have need. So there you go. We've got quite a bit of reputation to spend, but we're not going to yet. The 1st Corps is the most experienced corps in this army. We've actually noticed my experience is growing at a more gradual rate because we've been using the 1st Corps very sparingly. These 3 brigades, the Springfields, the Irish, and to a lesser degree the Iron 2nd Brigade, the Iron Brigade of the 2nd Iron Brigade, are the 3 best brigades of the entire army. The 2nd Corps has been getting the bulk of the action, including the entire victory of the Battle of 2nd Manassas, because we won it so quickly. But that is going to be the corps that we are going to rely on in this battle. I have done a little bit of work to try and improve the armaments in the 1st Corps so that they're all rifled muskets here. You can see here 1855s, Lorenzes. Those are the 2 main guns. We've got a couple of Harper's Ferries in there as well, and 1 brigade sporting some pattern Enfields. But other than that, every single unit in the 1st Corps has a rifled musket. In the Second Corps, things are not quite as lavishly gifted upon our soldiers. You can see here we had the 1 brigade with the 1855 rifled muskets. We've got the 1 brigade, Nelson's brigade, and Deering's brigade actually as well, which have Lorenz rifles. So you can see here we've got essentially just shy of 1 division with rifled equipment. Actually, can we just swap? We can do that, can't we? I think maybe that's what we're going to do, just so I can keep track of who has rifled muskets and who does not. I'm going to go ahead and swap Deering out as well. You can see here now the 1st Division has all but 1 unit with rifled muskets. Even the cannons used rifled cannons with the ordnance rifles, and then the other 2 brigades are all smoothbores. So we'll go with that. I think the 3rd Corps is all smoothbores as well, and I'm right about that as well. With that being said, we're going to make the 1st Division of the 2nd Corps sort of our elite corps under Alfred Leppin. Perhaps we also go ahead and put some, I was going to say we put the 20-gun battery in here, but I'd rather have the 16 ordnance rifles. So we'll leave it at is. The 2nd Corps will fight the Battle of Crampton's Gap, largely by themselves, I believe. So let's go ahead here. We can only bring 9 brigades to bear, so we can't even bring the entire 2nd Corps to bear in this battle, but we're going to go ahead and assign it anyway, and you'll see we'll have to leave almost half the corps behind. You can see the background behind the Battle of Crampton's Gap. The rebels have decided for the first time to invade northern soil. Lee has split his forces in an attempt to secure a supply line at Maryland. Jackson, with his left wing of the rebel army, is attacking Harper's Ferry, a strategic town with an arsenal. You need to drive a part of your army through Crampton's Gap to break the siege. The rest of your army must check the right wing of the rebel army spotted at Boonesboro. Okay, so that's what we're going to go ahead and do. You can see here the enemy has about 9,000 soldiers and 26 guns. We'll have as much as 18,000 soldiers or less. 25,000 soldiers is the maximum size of this unit, but it depends on the breakout of soldiers that we go with in these 9 brigades. So we're going to be on the offensive. With that all being said, guys, going to take a real quick moment just to let you know, I know I had intended to have the Panzer Corps videos out today. I had said I would have Cold Harbor videos or Cold Waters videos out yesterday. Just a little bit burned out right now, just taking a little bit of a kind of a break, obviously, because there's a video here, but I'm thinking about slowing things down just for a couple of days here. Both the month of June and July, I've been incredibly active in putting out videos, much so more than I've ever done before, and the months have paid off. You know, I have just over 3 million total views on my channel in more than 70 or more than 60 months on YouTube. 67 months, I believe, total. I started in January of 2012. So I've been on YouTube quite a while. I do it because I enjoy it. But in the month of June, I had over 300,000 views. In the month of July, it looks like I'll have over 250,000 views as well. So more than 500,000, almost 600,000 views out of 3 million. So 600,000 out of 600,000 out of 3,000. Thousands? I don't know. Almost 20% of my total views of my channel history have come in just the last 2 months. So this has been very successful. But I do this because I enjoy it. I do this because, you know, it's something that, you know, I like sharing kind of my knowledge of history. And I will say that in the last, I don't know, week or two, I'm not as happy with the videos that I put out. I really wasn't happy with my Cold Waters video. I don't think I did a good job of teaching history. It just felt like I was reciting facts. Didn't feel like I was making it terribly interesting. And so I'm going to kind of take a step back and maybe take a few days just to kind of decompress, just kind of, you know, take a little bit of a break, and then come back hopefully with some really quality content. The one caveat to that is if Battlestar Galactica comes out in the next few days, or if I get access to a beta copy of it, I may revoke my own statement and put out a lot of content for that. So there is a game that's about to come out called Battlestar Galactica by Matrix and Slytherin Games. I've got a preview copy, but it's not the newest version, and I'm not sure if they're okay with me sharing it. I did see some people streaming over the weekend of the most recent version, so if I can get a hold of that, I'll probably share that. Or if the game comes out full-blown, I'll obviously share that as well. But in the meantime, otherwise I will probably take a little bit of a break. With all of that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Alright, General, our scouts report that a small Confederate force is guarding the gap. We must attack and secure the passage. Most of our forces are half an hour behind, but the garrison of Harper's Ferry will soon run out of time. We must move fast, else the town will fall to the rebel hands. And this is actually true. The Federals did have some time, which they could have advanced through Crampton's Gap, but they did not advance aggressively, and as a result, the city fell before any serious relief could come. So it looks like we start with 4 brigades that we can bring to bear. Let's go ahead and pause this, and we're going to bring them just kind of up the road. You know, I'm going to expand into the wood line as soon as I can, but if I were to advance across the wood line, that would slow me down quite a bit. So we're going to use this, I guess, open passageway, and then we'll kind of feel the rebels out as we get closer. You can see here we're already under artillery fire. So actually, in that case, I'm going to bring Nelson's. Wow, that's a lot of artillery. We're going to bring Nelson's over here into the woods. Bring Deering as well through the other woods, and then we'll have Ecuador and Henry move up the center. Now, apparently, by putting all of my really good weaponed troops in the 1st Division, that ensures that that's what all of these soldiers are. All of these soldiers have rifled weapons, with the exception of Henry's brigade bringing up the rear. Gibbon, don't get yourself killed. Get into the woods. I kind of am of the mind to let them run, but I know that'll get them tired out really fast because they're moving through really rough terrain. Ecker is a little bit better because he's moving through open terrain, so we're going to go ahead and stop Nelson from running. Go ahead and stop Deering from running as well. Ector will keep running for a little bit longer up the middle, and you can see he's going to be attacking up some not wooded terrain, up some open terrain. And likely will be suffering for it. Alt. Alright, so Ector's going to get chewed to pieces. Tell me he doesn't have rifles. He does. He's going to be really expensive to replace. Alright. Break some skirmishers off Nelson's brigade. Bring it over here. Bring some skirmishers off this guy's brigade. Here. Ector's going to have to fall back. I don't want to get his brigade chewed to pieces, just for the heck of it. Nelson's already kind of getting chewed to pieces. God damn it, this is going to be a tough scenario. It looks like they're actually open on their right. So maybe we do this. Fall back. The enemy flank that's exposed appears to be the right flank, if any at all. Right, Deering, run up that hill. We're going to try and turn him. I don't know if I'm going to have time. I may end up losing this battle. Nelson was driven back. Alright, some artillery would have been nice, or something, I don't know. We're going to move way up and around. Nelson's skirmishers can kind of stay there. Hopefully the enemy just kind of stays glued to his position. Hector has Springfields, so we'll actually bring him in Deering's flank. And we'll see what happens here. The rest of our force is coming up. Bring him forward relatively even. You can see here the enemy does have some skirmishers off on Hector's flank. Dismounted troops, whatever. Hearing skirmishers will kind of guard the flank there. Nelson here. This is a tough scenario from the Union perspective. Okay. What's Deering doing? He's losing double what he's inflicting. Yeah, damn it. Hector's getting savaged as well. I don't want you guys wasting your time. You're moving. Alright. Gotta get around their flank. That's the only way we're gonna have a chance. Suppose I could just charge up their center. These guys just have kind of smooth bores. But I could try and break him that way. I mean, I don't think I'll have much success, but we do have... definitely have the advantage of manpower here. You guys are shooting, right? Alright. We're just gonna go for human wave assault, I suppose. Move these guys up, have these guys charge in. These guys are all green troops anyway. Don't have good weapons. Okay, one of our brigades is routed. The other brigade's routed. Charge! Charge! Move forward. Alright. We're going with more of the, you know, the human wave tactic. It's gonna lose us a lot of men, but it might win us the battle, and I can't really afford the prestige hit that a defeat would cost us, so... guess we may just have to be willing to take that. Again, the troops I'm having charge in large part are not well armed, as all these brigades run away now. But we did sort of break their center a little bit. That's a positive, I suppose. You can see here we put our rifled armed troops in the flank. And there we go, we just routed those guys. We just kind of broke the enemy. They have refused their lines a bit. Alright, Hector's retreating. Hector's the only non-rifled armed brigade over here. Let's move Gibbon over here. Wait, there's two Hector? I have two Hector's brigades. Alright, well. Interesting. Guys, deal with these. Skirmishers over here. We're routing the artillery, driving them back. Hector's flanked, but the skirmishers are going over there. Other Hector brigade is suffering web. Skirmishers deal with him. Alright. So now that we caught these enemies in the in a little bit of the open, once they're no longer in those sort of entrenched positions, I think we're having a little bit more success in driving them. Again, I'm kind of exhausting my troops. They're already exhausted, which makes them more easy to force to retreat. That brigade is losing a lot more than I wanted. Charge them on the flank. Come on, Deering. Forwards. A lot of canister fire. These guys aren't going to be efficient chargers. They're all exhausted. Alright, move the ammo up. Artillery, I'd prefer you shoot at someone you can get better targets on. Let's move you up a bit. We've got about an hour left. Game claims we've taken our objective. Go figure that Deering would be wounded. Okay, that artillery battery is being driven back. Charge! Guess they're all too tired to charge. Or a lot of them are. Would make some sense. Hey look, our own Hector's routing. Deering, get back up here. You actually go over here. Alright. Back comes Nelson. Oh, we've got another artillery battery here, but just sitting back here. Alright. Alright. Those skirmishers need to go back with their unit. Okay. This has been a very sharp fight. Really need Henry to hold his ground, at least until some reserves show up. Kind of holding the heights, but we're kind of not. Like, we've got them flanked. Oh, there you go. Victory. Alright, so we lost 3,800 men. The enemy lost a lot less. In terms of goods, we recovered of our own losses about half of our weapons. We also captured some. We captured 2 field guns, which is nice, but overall, nothing too decisive from that perspective. It's going to probably be costly, I would imagine, to replace our losses here. First Corps, again, was not engaged. They didn't suffer anything. Going to cost... Actually, it's going to be free to replace Henry's losses, interestingly, because I guess he's the brigade that had the 1842s. The 1855s are going to cost us almost 10 grand, so almost 1/12 of our reserves are going to cost us, mainly just to replace the weapons. The Lorenzas we actually have in stock, so that's free. And again, but not quite enough to fill out the whole unit. I think the rest will actually be free because they have cheap weapons and we've got those weapons in stock. Or not quite enough, but almost enough to replace our losses.
Yes, sir.
And there we go. So we still have to replace Deering. We lost a commander there. We'll put a lieutenant colonel in charge of his unit. And there you go. So we've replenished our losses. We have $100,000 left still to play with, and 8,000 recruits to play with. Start filling out in the 3rd Corps. Additionally, we've got one more career point, which we can assign to either Army Organization, which will increase the number of divisions per corps, but I believe, let me see, we've got 3 divisions. Yeah, so it'll actually allow us to have 1 more division in each one of our corps, which would allow us to add a total of 5 more brigades to our corps. So we could actually hit the maximum division size, but it wouldn't really go anywhere toward allowing us to have a 4th Corps, which is a little bit annoying. We could go with 1 more training, which would decrease the cost of veteran recruits, but we're not really going with veteran recruits at this moment because we're not replacing our experienced soldiers at the moment. We could go with medicine, which will bring back additional casualties after the battle. Or we could go with economy, which will make things cheaper to buy. Or politics, which will give us more gold and recruits. We'll go with politics, because I think we've been a little bit shy on gold and recruits of late. You can see here we're up to 71 reputation as the result of our win. We've got a morale boost of 8 now, as we've won yet another victory. You can see here our career is nothing but a string of victories thus far. George B. Gamer commanding. And, yeah, John Gibbon might be the first lieutenant general, though, in our force, given that I'm not using the 1st Corps nearly as often. With that being said here, we've got 2 divisions already. We're going to go ahead and start building out this 2nd division. But actually, wait, let's go back to the armory here. We've got a few Mississippis. We don't have any troops carrying that. We've got a few Palmettos. We don't have any troops carrying that. Skirmishers. We got some hunter rifles, which no one uses, so we'll sell those. We have some Sharps model weapons, but no one's using... Well, our cavalry's using them, but whatever. And then we've got 2 Napoleons, which actually will allow us to fit this battery out nicely to 16 guns to its full strength. So we'll go ahead and fit Morgan's brigade out with the division, or Morgan's artillery battery, I suppose, out with those guns. And we'll go ahead and finish the 1st division out with a new infantry brigade. We don't have any weapons in stock, though, so we could either go with the expensive weapons, like the Lorenz we don't have enough of. So we could go with the expensive 1855 Springfields, which would be $50,000. That's expensive. Or we could go with the cheap smoothbore weapons in the 1842s, which would be less than half that cost. Just in the interest of getting these troops out there, I think we're going to go with the Springfields. I don't have anything... I don't want to buy a whole bunch of brigadier generals and put them in charge of brigades, but we might have to do that. Doesn't look like we have enough mid-range officers. Everyone got wounded or killed.
Sir, yes, sir.
We'll put a brigadier in Pleasanton, I guess. Go ahead and raise an infantry brigade with Leflung Blanc Blanc Blanc. And actually, we need 1 more brigade in this 1st division here. You can see here we still have weapons in stock, and we'll put Krenzowski in command. And we've got $53,000 left. So, almost enough. Let's see here. Can we upgrade any of our existing troops with better weapons? Well, this 1st division has 1 unit with 1842s. We get them something a little bit better. Harper's Ferries would be too expensive. Springfields would be just barely too expensive by like 1,000. We don't have anything to sell. Sold everything that I had. Huh. Guess we can't. Joseph Hooker and John Schweitzer are wounded. Oh. I don't know if I want to drop supply. Do this. The 3rd Corps is the smallest corps. Probably has the least justification for really good supply. We'll go ahead and outfit Henry's brigade. I think we've got enough. No. Yes, we do. 54,000. We just upgraded Henry's brigade to rifles, so now this entire 1st division of the 2nd Corps has rifles. So 1/3 of the 2nd Corps, the entire 1st Corps. So more than half of our total brigades have rifled weapons. And we can go ahead and add 1 more infantry brigade because we've got the money to do it. We don't have the money to raise any higher commanders. Not only do we not have the money, we don't have any higher ranking commanders available right now. We're just gonna have to go with with what we've got. We've got 2,000 of these in stock because we just replaced them in the 2nd Corps. So we've got 1 more brigade. So now you can see here the 1st and the 2nd Corps, still they're 24 and 22,000. But after this last battle, the 3rd Corps is now up to 12,000 men and 36 guns. So 2 new guns, 3 new brigades of infantry. That 3rd Corps is still going to be the weak one when the Battle of Antietam rolls around, unless we use some of our reputation on things like more money or more recruits or better weapons or something. We could use George Gordon Meade and Ambrose Burnside as well, so we could use the reputation on some new generals here. But you can see here, even if we win South Mountain, it's unlikely that we'll have a substantially larger amount of troops to play with at Antietam. As we can see here, if we go into Antietam now, we could, attack on the left, center, and right. The right is now 3 brigades stronger, but not, still certainly the weakest wing in the army, especially if A.P. Hill's division comes up, as historically did occur. So I guess we'll see. Nonetheless, it's good. You can see our soldier strength has increased to 63,000 soldiers, so we're getting kind of close to where the Union Army was historically at the Battle of Antietam. The Confederacy had less than 40,000 men there, so hopefully we're outnumbering them 2-1, but I guess we'll find out. But yeah, with all that being said, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and end this video here. I hope you guys enjoyed the Battle of Crampton's Gap. And until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thanks once again for tuning in. Remember, I may be taking a couple of days break here or there, or just kind of maybe a little bit less formal videos like this where I just kind of play through and talk rather than the actual history behind it. Not sure which, but a little bit less content, barring some sort of access to Ultimate General, in which case, you know, I'll probably go gangbusters on that, just as I did Ultimate General and Cold Waters when they first came out. Anyway, guys, hope you're enjoying the videos. Let me know your thoughts below. Until next time, it's the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.